Great. So that being said, my name is Ikenna George Elendo, and today I'll be taking us on this presentation. This presentation here today is for the newbie or for the average Joe. I will do my possible best to use very simple terms to pass across my message. I will do my best not to use any technical terms just so I don't confuse some newbies. So this call is basically the 101 of how this business works. So please pay proper attention as much as you can. All right, so co-hosts, please do help me admit people into the room when you can, because I'll be sharing my screen and I cannot see the chat. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now, and then we can kick off. Great, so I'm hoping everybody can see my screen clearly. Co-host, if at any point you cannot hear my voice anymore, please unmute yourself and let me know so that I can adjust my network or just stop
All
sharing.
right, sir. All right, sir.
All right.
Noted.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the business of Royal Q. How can this business help change your finances if you let it? But also, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. I'm sure everybody has seen the craze that is happening currently. Bitcoin is currently sitting pretty at $93,000, something that most people thought that would never happen in this lifetime. But here we are. You know, we've been preaching about this cryptocurrency thing for years on end, telling you guys that this is the future of money. And for those that took action way earlier, of course, now they are reaping the benefits, but you're still not late. You know, you might think you're late, but you're not. This business right here can help you propel your cryptocurrency holdings, propel your trading strategies, propel your finances as much as you want. So please pay proper attention to all I have to say today and see how this business can help you fast track your journey in cryptocurrency. All right, so today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency, but apart from cryptocurrency, we have other types of currencies. I always like my meetings very interactive. So please, at some point, I will ask questions, and I would really love it if you can respond in the chat when I ask a question. That way, I know that you are following what I'm saying. All right, so we have cryptocurrency, but we also have what we call fiat currency, F-I-A-T. Now, what exactly is fiat currency? Fiat currency basically is paper money. Paper money. And when I say paper money, I simply mean money that you and I hold in our hands. You can put in your pockets, you can put in your wallet. Basically, physical money that you can come in contact with. Money that you can exchange for some good or service in whatever society that you're finding yourself in right now. That is paper money, and that is what we call fiat currency. Now, the thing about fiat currencies is that um, there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to fiat currencies. There are a lot of restrictions when it comes to our regular banking systems. Our regular banking systems that we have right now, all over, you know, in Nigeria and the US, whatever it is that you are, there are a lot of restrictions. Take, for instance, let's say you're in Nigeria and you would like to send, you know, an amount that is quite much. Let's say you're trying to send $200,000 to somebody, to a friend of yours who is in Sweden or in France or in Norway. Now, you and I know that the hassle to send this money alone is quite tedious, especially from Nigeria. First of all, you need to get to the bank, you need to sign some paperwork, or most likely you meet with your account officer. You know, you even ensure they can even send funds to that country at the time. You need to ensure if you have the limit to send this amount, you know, at a time or in a day. all those restrictions when it comes to your own money. Your own money. So basically, there is no privacy because of obviously at this point, even the branch manager knows they want to send money. Your account officer knows you want to send money. You sign some paperwork. Sometimes they invite you in and ask you what you do for a living before they can let you transact. No privacy when it comes to your own money. And sometimes sending funds this large could take days. Could take hours just for this to clear. But in cryptocurrency is digital currency, basically money that exists on the internet, money that can only be accessed or sent over the internet. It is not paper. You cannot hold it in your hand. You cannot hold Bitcoin with your hands. So crypto is money, digital currency that can only exist on the internet. And the good thing about cryptocurrency is that it gives you ease. The same example I gave you a few seconds ago, if you would like to send the same amount, $200, $200,000 in cryptocurrency to a friend of yours in Sweden, in France, in Norway, wherever it is, as long as that person has a cryptocurrency wallet, you can send these funds and they will receive it instantly, as easy as receiving a text message. It doesn't matter how much it is. It could be $1 million. It could be 2 million. It could be 10 million. It could be 100 million. And it will get to the person as easy as a text message. That is the beauty of cryptocurrency. Another thing why a lot of people are jumping and getting involved with cryptocurrency is that we have a saying that every single transaction that has ever happened in the cryptocurrency space, every single transaction that ever happened from the inception of cryptocurrency gets recorded on what we call the blockchain. Now, what exactly is this blockchain? So, in layman's terms, let us say, follow me. Let's say, for instance, for those of us who go to the market once in a while, you head over to the market while you're purchasing some product from a shop. A woman walks up to the shop with a notebook and takes, let's say, 1,000 naira from the owner of that shop. She takes that money, she records it on her notebook. She writes how much was given to her, what day it was given to her, who gave it to her. She records that in her notebook and she goes over to the next shop. She does the same thing over there. She takes money from the owner, probably, let's say, 1,000 naira. Same thing, writes down the name, the amount, the time and dates that the money was taken. If you notice, she will keep doing this for all the shops that are on that line. Now, why is she doing this? Why is she recording all the transactions or all the money that she's collecting at the time? She's doing that because of the future. So that in the future, there is no discrepancy as to how much was given to her, how much she received, when it was given to her, and so on. Basically, that notebook is for transparency. That notebook is to show everybody that, look, this is what I received and this is what I have. So the blockchain is exactly what that notebook is in cryptocurrency terms. The notebook is basically what the blockchain is. Like I said, the blockchain is where every single transaction that has ever happened in cryptocurrency gets recorded. Now, we also have a saying that the blockchain is transparent and it is also anonymous. Now, what do we mean by transparent and anonymous? Now, you and I right now, we can log onto the blockchain. We can scroll back to 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and we can see a transaction that happened at this same time 7 or 5 years ago. Right now, the time is 16 minutes past the hour of nine. We could go back 7 years in the past to 16 minutes past the hour of 9 on the blockchain and would see a transaction that happened on that blockchain. Now, what would we see on that blockchain? We would see the wallet address that sent the cryptocurrency. We would see the amount of cryptocurrency that was sent at the time. We would see the wallet address that received the cryptocurrency as well. All this is open for everybody and anybody to verify. That is why the blockchain can be trusted. So that is why I say that the blockchain is transparent. But what do I mean by anonymous? Why will I say that the blockchain is anonymous? Now, even though you and I can log onto the blockchain and verify a transaction that happened 5, 10 years ago, we can see the wallet address that received and sent and the amount that was sent. We cannot tell the owners of those wallets. We cannot tell if it is John that owns the wallet that received the crypto. We cannot tell if it was Jane or Judith or Choma or Ade that sent the cryptocurrency. That is why we say that the blockchain is transparent, but it is also anonymous. Now, moving on. Now, before I go into, okay, let's talk about this first. Now, for those of us that don't understand that cryptocurrency is here to stay, these are a few stats for you to take note of. Now, as a matter of fact, these stats are actually quite a little old. Right here, as of last year, there were over 420 million crypto users worldwide. 420 million crypto users worldwide. When I was doing my research a few months ago, I realized that this number has changed, and as we speak, or as of when I checked a few months ago, we had approximately 570 million crypto users worldwide. Now, of course, you and I know that these numbers change every single day. And now talk about today, where Bitcoin hit its highest it has ever hit ever. Of course, you know, now more people will join crypto, more people are more excited, and these numbers would definitely skyrocket. So, bottom line, this is to show you that more people are getting involved with cryptocurrency because they see the potential. It has gone through the test of time to if it is something that can be trusted. That's why a lot of people are jumping into cryptocurrency. Now, here are some top countries that are involved with crypto. Number one, we have USA at approximately 46 million people that own cryptocurrency wallets. We have India at approximately 27 million. We have Pakistan, 26 million. We have Nigeria, 22 million. We have Vietnam at 20 million. I'm sure you know that by now these numbers have already skyrocketed. This is just to show you that more countries, more people are getting involved with cryptocurrency. Now, before I go to the next slide, I would like us to have a little task. So please, everybody in the room right now, please type in the chat. I mentioned two major characteristics when I was describing the blockchain. What are those two major characteristics when I described the blockchain? Please type them in the chat. That way I'm sure that you are following, and then I can move on. I'm hoping to see approximately 10 to 20 responses in the chat before I carry on. So the two major characteristics I talked about when I mentioned the blockchain, can you please type it in the chat? I'll be checking the chat right now. The two major characteristics the two major characteristics when I describe the blockchain. All right, so Stephen says it's transparent and anonymous. Okay, Pray says you can give back in time to see, you can go back in time to see an old transaction. Okay, that's true, but that's not the major reason. Joyce says the blockchain helps us to record past transactions. Awesome. This is also a very valid point, but I mentioned two major characteristics when I was describing. All right, so Mivado says transparent and anonymous. Fantastic. Next person says anonymous and transparent. The next person says the same thing. All right, fantastic. Great, great. So almost everybody has the same answer, which is good, and I'm happy that we are all following. Co-host, once again, please, if at any point you cannot hear me clearly, please let me know so that I can unmute myself or adjust my network. Now, moving on, we've talked about cryptocurrency. Of course, we've talked about fiat currencies. We've talked about what exactly they are. We've talked about the blockchain. We've talked about it being transparent, it being anonymous. We've talked about, you know, the advantages of cryptocurrency over fiat currencies. Now, let's move on to how can you receive, how can you sell, how can you buy these cryptocurrencies that we are talking about? You can do that by what we call cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, how do you come across these exchanges? Basically, a cryptocurrency exchange is a platform or a digital platform, a digital marketplace where you can purchase cryptocurrency, you can buy, you can sell, you can receive, you can send. Basically, this is where you can access cryptocurrency. You can buy, keep, sell, whatever you want on these exchanges. Now, there are so many cryptocurrency exchanges out there that you can take part of. We have Coinbase, we have Binance, we have Kraken, we have Luno, we have Bybit. You know, there's so many of them that you can take advantage of. You can decide whichever one suits you better. You can go for that. But there are just a few of them that work hand in hand with the Royal Q business. So please pay proper attention while we go across to the next slide. Now, let's talk about trading pairs. I would like to ask a question in the chat. I always ask this question every week. So please, as soon as you hear the word pair, P-A-I-R, can you please type in the chat? What is the first thing that pops in your mind? As soon as you hear the word pair, P-A-I-R, what is the word that pops into your mind? What is the first thing that pops into your mind as soon as you hear the word pair? Please type in the chat. Please type in the chat. Okay, so Nonyemado says join, something that's joined. That's also a good response. Praise says pair, two, awesome. Babatokbe says connect, awesome. These are also good explanations. Felix says twos. Nuti says buy in twos. UAE says dollar against the naira. That's you're already jumping the gun. I said, what's the first thing that pops in your mind when you hear the word pair? I'm not talking about currencies, I'm talking about money, I'm not talking about anything. What is the very first thing that pops in your mind once you hear the word P-A-I-R, pair? So I'm getting lots of good answers as well today. Combine, team, connect, merge, connect. Two things that work together, link. These are very good answers. Very good answers. All right. So let's go down to the first thing that usually should pop in your head as soon as you hear the word pair is the number two. Two. Something that's in twos, something that is paired to something else. All right. So obviously now when you hear the word trading pair, you will know that obviously it has to do in twos, but also has to do with something that in trading as well. Now, in trading pairs, there are different types of trading pairs. Now, let's take for instance. So please pay attention because again, I will ask questions after this example. Now, let's take for instance, you are in Nigeria. You're in Nigeria, and a friend of yours has come to visit you from the UK. All right. Now they come to visit you from the UK, and they hand over £100 note to you here in Nigeria. You know, your friend hands this over to you. All right. So because you cannot spend that money in the country you're living in at the time, because that is not the legal tender of the country you're living in at the time, the very next day you decide to go exchange that for the legal currency of the country you are living in at the time, which is Nigeria. So what do? You head over to a bureau de change, or to, as we call it, you head over to Aboki. Aboki, I beg, how much is the pounds to the naira today? That is typically how that question would go. You would ask him, please, how much is pounds to naira today? Simply put, the trading pair for that question you just asked that bureau de change is GBP slash NGN. GBP slash NGN. What does this mean? GBP, this simply means that you would like to know what the value of what one currency is to another. That is simply what it means. You would like to know what the value of what one currency is to another. And of course, GBP in this sense stands for Great British Pounds. Remember, a friend of yours came from the UK, came to visit you here in Nigeria, handed over £100 note to you. You decided to go exchange that for the legal currency of the country you are living in, which is Nigeria. Therefore, the trading pair for that transaction would be GBP slash NGN. Of course, you know, NGN stands for Nigerian Naira. All right. So this right here is what we call a trading pair. Remember, I said once you hear pair, what should come to your mind is the number 2, something that's in twos, something that's paired to something else. All right. So this is the first example. Now, let's do a little task. So please listen to my voice and please type in the chat if you know the answer. So let's take, for instance, you are in the US. You live in the US. You reside in the US, and a friend of yours decides to come visit you from Japan. All right, a friend of yours has come to visit you from Japan. They came to the US to visit you from Japan. When they meet you there in the US, they hand over the currency, the Japanese currency to you there in the US. Now, because of course you cannot spend Japanese currency there in the US, you decide to go exchange that for the legal tender or the legal currency of the country you are living in at the time, hypothetically, which is the US. Could you please type in the chat, what would the trading pair be for that transaction? When you head over to the bureau de change to make that transaction, please type in the chat, what would the trading pair for that transaction be? Please type in the chat. Remember, hypothetically, you live in the US, a friend of yours has come to visit you from Japan. They hand over the official currency of Japan to you there in the US. Because you cannot exchange that for the legal, because that is not the legal currency of the country, you decide to go exchange it for the legal currency of the country. Please type in the chat, what would the trading pair for that transaction be? I'm expecting a lot more answers. All right, so I'm seeing, okay. All right, so Hillary says JPY slash USDT. That is wrong. And I'll tell you why. Next person says, Mariam says JPN slash USDT. That is also wrong. Tab says JPN slash USD. Next person says USD slash JPN. Olayemi says JPY slash USD. Awesome. Samuel says USDT slash yen. Next person says JPN slash USD, and so on. All right, so everybody's saying USDT. You are wrong, and I'll explain why. The first person who got this correctly is the first person who got it correctly is Olayemi. Olayemi. All right, so we have more answers. More people saying USDT, USDT. Okay, so what would the correct answer be? Now, let us analyze the details. Like I said, number 1, you live in the US. A friend of yours has come to visit you from Japan. They hand over the official currency of Japan to you there in the US. You decide to go exchange it for the legal currency of the country that you live in, which is US. What would the trading pair for that transaction be? The trading pair for that transaction would be JPY slash USD. JPY slash USD. Now, what does this mean? Japanese yen, which is your official currency of Japan, and USD. Basically, you would like to know what the value of the Japanese yen you are holding is in USD. Remember, in pairs. So the trading pair for that transaction would be JPY slash USD. Obviously, you know that USD stands for United States dollar. So those that said USDT, you're all wrong, and I'll explain to you why. All right, so let me ask another question. All these examples we have talked about so far, from you being in Nigeria, a friend of yours giving you pounds, to you living in the US and a friend of yours handing over the Japanese currency to you, all these examples of trading pairs I just gave you now, can you please tell me in the chat, what type of trading pairs are they? Number one, these examples I gave you so far, are they crypto trading pairs, or are they fiat trading pairs? Please type in the chat. These two examples I gave so far, from you living in Nigeria to you living in the US and you getting money from a friend of yours, what kind of trading pairs are these examples? Number one, are they crypto trading pairs or are they fiat trading pairs? Please type in the chat. Please type in the chat. I'm expecting a lot more answers. I'm expecting a lot more answers. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of people are saying fiat, fiat, fiat. Please, if you feel if it's not fiat, please feel free to give your own response. Do not feel like you have to follow the crowd. If you are wrong, we'll correct you. So yeah, do feel free. Awesome. So Lucky says crypto. So Lucky says crypto. Every other person says fiat. All right. So for those that said fiat, can we please explain to Lucky why you came up with the answer that is fiat? Why did you come up with the answer that is fiat? So that Lucky can learn a little more. Why did your answer become fiat? Same thing. Yahaya says crypto as well. All right. So the reason TAB says it is fiat currency is because of its physical current. I'm sure you want to say currency. Rosie says paper currency. Felix says fiat is physical. Samuel says physical exchange. Fantastic. Olayemi says fiat is what you can feel with your hands. Fantastic. Awesome. These are all amazing responses. So for those that said it is cryptocurrency, I'm sure by now you understand why all these examples we just gave so far are all examples of fiat trading pairs. Now, let's move on. Remember, we have different types of trading pairs. We just talked about fiat trading pairs, but we also have crypto trading pairs. Right here, we have an example of a crypto trading pair. Right here, it says BTC slash USDT. This right here is an example of a cryptocurrency trading pair. And I'll explain why. Of course, you know by now that BTC stands for Bitcoin, while USDT stands for United States Dollar Tether. Can someone please help me type that in the chat for others? USDT stands for United States Dollar Tether. 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 United States dollar tether. When you hear the word tether, this is something attached to something else, something that's joined to something else. So what exactly is USDT? Now, one USD is equal to one USDT. All right? One USD is equal to one USDT. Of course, by now you know that one USD is fiat, while one USDT is crypto. USDT is crypto, while regular USD is fiat. So yes, one USDT is the cryptocurrency equivalent of a fiat dollar. One USDT is the cryptocurrency equivalent of a fiat dollar, while one USD is the fiat currency of the crypto, which is one USDT. So simply put, as soon as you hear USDT, you know that you're dealing with cryptocurrency. And as soon as you hear regular one USD, you know you're dealing with fiat. Awesome. Moving on. Let us talk about some basic investment strategies. Basically, how do you make more of these cryptocurrencies? How can you multiply your cryptocurrencies, the ones that you have? The first way right here is by what we call hodling. HODLING. It's a play on the word hold, to hold on to something, HOLD. If you hold on to something, it means that you are not letting go. You are not letting it go. You are holding on to it for dear life, basically. So let me give you an everyday example or a layman's example. Let's take, for instance, a few years ago or 10 years ago, you told yourself that no matter what happens, you want to purchase a property. Now, what do? Let's say you find a property that went for 1 million naira. You purchased that piece of land for 1 million naira. And you told yourself that no matter what happens, you are not going to sell off this piece of land until 2024. That was the resolve you came, that's what you told yourself, that no matter what happens, you are not going to sell off this property until 2024. Of course, throughout the time, 6 months down the time, somebody comes to you with a very juicy offer and offers to purchase that piece of land from you for 5 million naira. Of course, that is very good profit in the space of 6 months. But because you know that in the future, this particular property will be worth way more than it is right now, you decide to decline those offers regardless, continuously. And thankfully, you made it. You were able to hold on to that piece of land, be able to resist all forms of temptation, family, financial issues, economical issues, whatever it is. You did not sell that piece of land until 2024. And then thankfully, you start hearing that, oh, in that area that you purchased that piece of land, it's now becoming developed. There are new schools, there are new roads, there are new hospitals, there are new buildings there. And right now, that piece of land you purchased for 1 million naira 10 years ago is currently going for 25 million. So now you see that you made the right decision. You took the right gamble. You made the right investment by trusting and deciding to hold onto that piece of land. That is why you were able to gain such tremendous profits from that piece of land. Of course, this example I just gave you right now is exactly what happens in cryptocurrency. Let's take, for instance, when Bitcoin first came out, the first time Bitcoin was ever made, the very first time it was made, Bitcoin was less than $1. It was less than $1. As a matter of fact, it was in cents. One Bitcoin, one BTC, was approximately less than 10 cents. Let's just say 10 cents. 10 cents. Now, let's do a little math for those of us that are here to show you the power of hodling. Now, let's say, for instance, back then when Bitcoin came out, and you decided to purchase 10 pieces of Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoins at 10 cents for each one. So please type in the chat, how much would you have spent to purchase 10 pieces of Bitcoin at 10 cents? How much would you have spent to purchase 10 pieces of Bitcoin? Please type in the chat. How much? How much would you have spent to purchase 10 pieces of Bitcoins? Co-host, is anybody waiting in the room? Okay. All right, so I said, how much would you have spent if you are purchasing 10 pieces of Bitcoin at 10 cents? All right, so TAB says 1 USD, 100 cents. Technically, you would have spent $1. Of course, by the time you multiply 10 cents by 10, you get $1. So let's do this math. Let's say back then you were able to purchase 10 Bitcoins at $1. And when you purchased this, this 10 pieces of Bitcoin at $1, of course, you forgot about it. Bitcoin wasn't really a source of income. So you just purchased it because of the rave and the constant talks and the social on, from friends and family. And you just left it in your wallet address. You forgot about it. You carried on with your life. You carried on with your 9 to 5 job. You just continued living life. Let us say that you didn't withdraw, you didn't sell, you didn't touch that 10 pieces of Bitcoin. And fast forward to today, right now, November, you're able to gain access to that wallet address where you purchased those 10 pieces of Bitcoins. Remember, the amount you spent to purchase those 10 Bitcoins was $1. Could you please type in the chat, how much is one Bitcoin right now as we speak? One Bitcoin. How much is one Bitcoin right now as we speak? Please type in the chat for those that know. How much is one Bitcoin right now as we speak? As we speak. Fantastic. So Wally says 900,000. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. Samuel says $89,000. 91,000, 98,000. Not yet. 92,000. So let us use a round figure and say that one Bitcoin right now is approximately ranging at $90,000 for one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin. So can you please help me type in the chat? If you were able to open that wallet address, that you purchased these 10 Bitcoins way back when, you open it this night, this very night, for a balance where you spent only $1 to purchase 10 Bitcoins, can you please type how much you would see in that wallet address right now as soon as you open it? Please type in the chat. Considering that one Bitcoin is $90,000 for one, how much would you see in that your wallet address? Please type in the chat. Please type in the chat. Please type in the chat. Don't you say this calculator don't spoil. Oh dear. All right, so people are saying $900,000 above $900,000. So I'm just trying to show you that I don't know of any other business that you can invest. I'll call it invest $1 that would generate thousands of percentage from $1 to 900, almost $1 million in a space of 10 plus years. I do not know of any business that can give such returns except cryptocurrency. All this to say, to show you the power of hodling, the power that comes with letting things be. Of course, because hodling simply means that you have decided to hold on to a coin and let it ride out so that you can gain as much profit as possible. Hodlers are looking for long-term gains. The hodlers can hold on to a coin for months, for years, without them feeling tempted to sell off and take profits. That is the power of hodling. Now, so the next way you can make money in cryptocurrency, we call that day trading. Day trading is done by day traders, but for you to become a day trader, you need extensive knowledge and understanding of the market. You need to know what exactly you are getting involved with. You need to know how to trade. You need to know when to trade. All this has to be done after you have learned how to get it done. We have amazing teachers. We have technical classes where you can attend Fridays, Saturday, and Sundays as well. You can reach out to the person who invited you to this particular call and let them know that you'd like to join those meetings, and they would definitely send you the invites to those ones. Remember, this particular call today is just for the newbie, for the new member that is trying to learn how to maneuver this business. But for the technical part of the business, we have calls on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So please do well to attend those ones. So basically, day traders, unlike hodlers, are looking for short-term gains. They're looking for the quickest time to make profit and leave the market. But this does not mean that you must be one or the other. This doesn't mean that you must be a day trader or you must be a hodler. As a matter of fact, you can be both of them. Why do I say that? Because there are so many cryptocurrencies out there that for you to take advantage of. Yes, there are some cryptocurrencies that you can look at and you can see that they have long-term potential. While there are some of them too that are very volatile that you can take advantage of and make money on a daily or on a daily basis. So you can be a day trader, you can also be a hodler all at once. Now, while we're here today, we are here to talk about the business of Royal Q. Trust me, everything I've said so far leads you to the business of Royal Q. It leads you to understand certain terminologies better so that when you join the business, when you see some terms in the group chats and in the meetings, you will not be confused. At least you know that, oh, I saw that in the meeting and I understand it now. So talking about Royal Q, what exactly is it? Now, before I do that, I would like to talk about the word um, artificial intelligence, AI. Now, AI is literally here to help make our lives better, your life and my life, in whatever aspect, in whatever thing you do, whether you're 9 to 5 or you're a business owner or you are a programmer, whatever it is. AI is here to help make your life better. Take for instance, I always use this example of Elon Musk in the US, who owns the Tesla company. Tesla, they produce self-driving cars. This was something that you and I probably saw, in movies many years ago, and they termed it the future. But right now, that is our present reality. It's happening. It's not in the future. It is our present reality. Self-driving cars, simply meaning that you can just get into the car and it takes you to your destination without you lifting a finger. In China, they have self-driving taxi companies, meaning that they don't have a single driver on their payroll. All you need to do is that on your phone, you select where your location is. The car drives up to where you are, you get in, and it takes you to your destination. Back in the day, before we go for examination the next morning, obviously we'd go for night class, go and study as much as you can and, write down notes and read. Fast forward down the time, cyber cafes came into play. You would go to a cyber cafe, you would purchase time for 20 naira or 15 naira per hour. You would surf the web. It was new to us. It was like, wow, what is this new thing that what is this new pool of information on Google? You sit down and access your Google and get all the information you wanted. As time rolled by, the internet now was so easily accessible that it was now in our smartphones. Right now, you are listening to my voice. I might probably never meet a lot of you ever, but you are here listening to my voice. This is all possible through AI and artificial intelligence and
Hello, sir. We can't hear you, sir.
We can't hear you. Coach George, we can't hear you, please. You guys should just be patient. Probably it's the network. It's going to join us shortly. Yes, well, probably a network challenge. Is going to join us shortly.
all right, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry, I think the network just kicked me off. If you can hear me clearly, please type a one in the chat. I apologize, the network just kicked me out. If you can hear me clearly, please type a one in the chat. Awesome. Great. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now and then
Okay,
we'll
we can hear
continue
you.
from where we. Great. Thank you very much, co-host. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now and then I'll continue from where I stopped. Great. So basically, I was talking about artificial intelligence, and I said that if you have an AI tool that can help make your transportation better, help make your education better, help make your business better, why not have one that can help make your trading better, which is where RoyalQ comes into play. Please, co-host, if at any point you can't hear me clearly, please unmute yourself and let me know because I cannot see the chat while I share my screen. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir.
Thank you. So, what exactly does RoyalQ do for you and I? RoyalQ basically helps you monitor your trades, helps you analyze trades, helps you pick your trades and close your trades with ease, meaning that this RoyalQ application will work for you. While you go ahead with your 9 to 5 or your daily activities, this will be your own employee. This will trade for you. This will make profits for you until you come back and access your account. Now, in this image here, we have two different scenarios. On the left, we have a human who is trading. Now, this doesn't mean that any human that doesn't use artificial intelligence or robots cannot make money from the market. I would be lying to you if I tell you that. As a matter of fact, there are very profitable traders who do not use any AI tools. And that's the truth. But there is always, or there's only so much a human being can do at a time. There's only so much, number of trades that a human being can monitor at a time. A human cannot monitor 50 to 100 trades at a go. It is not humanly possible. A human has emotions, which sometimes or most times can be detrimental to your trades. What do I mean? Let's say, for instance, you have your kids' fees are due in the next 3 days, or your rent is due by next week. Now you're trading. You have to make this money right now. I have to enter the market, even though it seems like the market is not favorable to enter at the time. But because you are desperate to make money for some issue in your life, 9 times out of 10, you will lose money that way. But on the right here, we have an AI tool that doesn't care what is going on in your life. It just performs. It just executes. It just buys, just sells when it is supposed to. And of course, an AI tool can monitor way more trades than a human being can. So the difference is very obvious. Obviously, trading with an AI tool is way better because it helps you achieve more, get more profits, sell more, buy more with ease. And that is how the RoyalQ bot works for you and I. Moving on. How exactly does this RoyalQ bot work for you and I? Here we have an image showing the connection. Now, over here we have the RoyalQ application. This is your RoyalQ application. And on the right here, we have your cryptocurrency exchange. Remember, I talked about this when we started the meeting. Right here, we have your cryptocurrency exchange, and right here in the middle, we have the API. This is what connects your RoyalQ application to your cryptocurrency exchange. Why does there need to be a connection? Now, before I go into that, I will need you to understand that in RoyalQ, you do not send your money to anyone to trade on your behalf. A lot of us here on this call right now have been part of businesses that have promised us heaven and earth and have eventually failed us in the sense that they tell you, oh, send us your money, we will trade on your behalf, and we will send you your weekly profits or your daily profits or your monthly profits. If you have ever been a part of such business in the past that failed, please type yes. If you have ever been a part of such business in the past, please type a yes. They've told you, send us your money or your capital, we will trade on your behalf and we'll send you profits daily or monthly or weekly. If you have ever done such a thing that failed, please type a yes in the chat. Anybody? All right, so I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yes, so okay. Yes, it took our money away, not just your own, but as well. So, but the thing is that in RoyalQ, there's nothing of that sort. There's nobody you are sending your capital to trade on your behalf because your money is in your own possession. Your money is sitting pretty in your own cryptocurrency exchange. Nobody has access to this money except you. Nobody can withdraw from this account except you because you have everything concerning security. You have the password, you have the email addresses, you have the 2FA. Everything that concerns security is in your own hands. Nobody has access to your money except you. Your capital, your profits all sit pretty in your cryptocurrency exchange, which is unheard of because you and I know, like a lot of yeses in the chat, most businesses want you to send capital to them. They claim they trade for you, and then they pay you peanuts. But here in RoyalQ, you do not send your money to anyone to trade on your behalf. It remains in your possession. While the API gives the RoyalQ application a peek into how much you have in there, thereby letting it trade the amount you have in there and keeping your profits in there as well. It's amazing. The fact that you are still in possession of your money is being traded in front of you, your capital, your profits are still sitting in your own hands. It is amazing. So that is why RoyalQ has stayed for this long because its model is a model that works. Now, How does the Royal Keyboard make money for you and I? What type of trading does it do? The major type of trading that the Royal Keyboard does for you and I is called the spot trading. I call this the safest form of trading. Excuse me. Now, it might seem technical, but by the time I'm done explaining what exactly spot trading is, you will see that it is quite easy. Let's take, for instance, 1 second. Okay. Let's take, for instance, what does spot trading mean? Every single man and woman, every businessman, every businesswoman that decides to start a business, they do that. Please mute yourself as soon as you get into the room. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, every businessman and woman that decides to start a business, they do that because of one major thing. And that major thing is that they would want to make profit. I do not know anybody that starts a business hoping to lose money. Every single man and woman that decides to start a business, they do it because the major reason is to make profit. And what exactly is making profit? How exactly do you make profit in a business? You do that by, number one, you source for a product, you purchase that product at a lower price, and then you go and sell to a customer at a higher price. The difference, obviously, is what we call the profit. So technically, you buy low, you sell high. You buy low, you sell high, and that difference is what your profit is. Now, this example I just gave you right here of buying low and selling high and making profit is simply what spot trading means. So as soon as you hear spot trading anywhere you hear spot trading, it simply means you are buying low and selling high. You are buying a cryptocurrency at a lower price and selling at a higher price. That is simply what spot trading means. Now, the major thing about spot trading is that, number one, obviously, like I said, you buy low and you sell high. There's no margin or futures trading. Now, like I said, spot trading is the safest form of trading, safest, because there are no emotions and there are no losses when it comes to spot trading. No losses. You might be wondering, how is that possible? You're trading. How is it possible that there cannot be any loss at all? Yes, there are no losses. There is only one scenario where we can say, all right, at this point, you have lost money. And I'll tell you, I'll give you that scenario right now. Let us say, for instance, you have a bag of rice. You purchase a bag of rice for 30,000 naira. You purchase that bag of rice for 30,000 naira. Your plan is that when this bag of rice appreciates to 50,000 naira, you are going to sell off in profit. But something happens in the market and that price of rice starts dropping in value. It drops from 30,000, it drops to 20,000, drops further to 15,000, drops even further to 10,000 naira per bag of rice. Now, please let me know in the chat. At this point, where this bag of rice is still in your house and you haven't sold it off, but it is currently worth 10,000 naira per bag of rice, considering the fact that you purchased it at 30,000, would you say that at this point of 10,000, would you say that you have lost your money? Type a yes or a no in the chat. At this point of 10,000 naira per bag of rice, remember, you still have the bag of rice with you. Would you say that you have lost money? Please type yes or no in the chat. Would you say that you have lost money? Please be honest. Do not follow the crowd. If you feel that you have lost money, please type a yes. If you don't feel so as well, please type a no. All right, so Stephen says yes. A lot of people say no. Hamis says yes. Ifyong says yes, I have. More people have said no. Stephen says yes. All right, so Chidi Chidi Ogoki says, no, because the bag of rice is still in my possession. Also, I was going to ask those that said no to give us a reason, but that is a perfect explanation. So, next person, Ibika says, I still have the rice, I can still hold it. Awesome. So, the answer to my question is that at this point of 10,000, yes, the value of the bag of rice you have in your possession is what lesser than you bought it, but you have not lost your money. You have not lost your money. Why do I say this? Because the market does only two things. The market constantly fluctuates. A market that goes down will come up. A market that goes down will eventually come up. Yes, it might take a while, it might take a long time, but the market will recover. What do I mean by this? So because you are still in possession of that bag of rice in your house, you haven't sold it, you haven't used any part of it, it is just intact in your house, you have not lost money because the market will recover eventually. And yes, the market will recover from 10,000, it will start going back up to 15, back up to 20, and eventually to the point where you bought at first, which is 30,000. At this point of 30,000, you can decide to sell off and break even, thereby taking the money you put into the market in the first place, and you're like, I beg, I'm not doing it again. That's literally what it means. But you can still wait for the market to get to your first target, your first profit target, which is 50,000 naira, and then you would have made more profit. All I'm trying to show you here is that the fact that the value of the product you are holding at the time is lesser does not mean that you have lost money because the market will recover eventually. Please, Nick, a favor. Please stop drawing on my board. Thank you very much. All right. So, yeah, so this is this example I just gave right now. If you understand it, please type a yes. If you understand what I just said right now about you not losing money, please type a yes in the chat. If you understand what I just said right now, please type a yes in the chat. Great. If you don't, please type a no as well. Just feel free. Great. So a lot more yeses. Fantastic. So moving on. I said that there is only one scenario in sports trading where we say that, okay, now you have made an actual loss. Now you have made a loss. You have lost your money. And that situation or that scenario is, all right, so follow me. Remember, our first example is that you purchase a bag of rice for 30,000 naira. Your plan is that when it gets up to 50,000 naira, you're going to sell off in profit. But something starts happening in the market whereby the value of the rice starts dropping from 30 to 20 to 15 to 10. And we already established that even though it's at 10, you haven't lost your money because you are still in possession of that bag of rice. So throughout this entire time where the price is from 30,000 down to 10,000, we would say that you are in a floating loss. Floating. Floating. We would say that you are in a floating loss. All right. But the only time we would say that you have actually now lost your money is if at this point where the value of the bag of rice is at 10,000 or 15,000, and you tell yourself, I cannot wait any longer for this market to recover. It's been too long. Let me just set it like that. Let me just set it off like that. As soon as you make that statement, as soon as you carry out that act, which is selling off at a price lower than when you bought it, at that point, we would say that you just made an actual loss. Actual loss. As soon as you sell off at a price lower than when you purchase, we would say that you just had an actual loss. But as long as you don't sell off, as long as you are patient enough to wait for the market to recover, you will make back your money. All right, moving on. Let's talk about another strategy that the Royalty Bot uses to make money for you and I, and that is called the martingale strategy. It is called the martingale strategy. What exactly is this martingale strategy? Um, we also call it the dollar cost averaging method. We also call it the dollar cost averaging method. Now, please pay attention for those that are here for the very first time. Let's use an example. So let's say there are two people for this exercise right now. We have a man called John. Now, John decides to, I'm trying to explain this martingale strategy to you. Now, John decides to purchase a cryptocurrency for $200. He decides to purchase a cryptocurrency for $200. His plan is that when this coin appreciates to $500, he's going to sell off in profit. That's his plan. But something happens in the market. Yes, you might have your plan, but the market does what it wants to do whenever it wants to do what it wants to do. So after purchasing at $200, his plan is that when he gets to 500, he's going to make profit. But something happens in the market and the coin value starts dropping drastically. It drops from 200 to 150. It drops to 100. It drops to even $50. So at this point, the coin he bought for $20 is now worth $50. Well, based on our experience of the last slide, you know that even at this point, he hasn't lost his money. But Mr. John starts worrying. He starts panicking. What should he do? Should he sell off? Should he wait? What exactly can he do right now? But he decides, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the markets to recover. Yes, it might take a long while. It might take days. It might take weeks. It might take months for the market to recover, but the market will eventually recover. Now, Mr. John decides to wait for the market to recover. As soon as he recovers back to this point where he initially bought at $200, right here, he can decide to sell off and break even and take back his $200. He can do that. Or he can decide, you know what, I've waited this long, I can wait a little further. I will wait until it gets to my profit target, my initial profit target of $500. That is the first scenario. Remember, Mr. John purchased a coin at $200. The market dropped even further from 150 to 100 to 50, but he did not sell off. He waited for the market to recover, and eventually he made profits. The only thing that Mr. John lost during this entire time, this entire period, was the time, the patience it took him to wait for the market to go down and come back up. Now, that is the first scenario. Let's take a second scenario. Let's say there's a lady, and the lady's name is, let's say, Jane. Now, Jane decides to do the same thing that Mr. John has done, but with a little difference. What does she do? She purchases the same coin at $200. Her plan is that same thing, when it gets to $500, she's going to sell off in profit. That's her plan. But same thing happens again in the market. Her coin starts losing value. So the coin drops from 200, drops down to 150. It drops down to 100. It drops down to even $50. And at this point, Miss Jane is not panicking, unlike Mr. John, because Miss Jane understands that the market does only two things. The market goes down and it comes up. So what does she do? She decides to implement the martingale strategy. What exactly is this martingale strategy? Now, every time the market dropped down, Miss Jane purchased more coins. Every time the market dropped down, Miss Jane just kept buying more coins continuously. Every time the market dropped further down, she just kept buying more coins. Now, somebody might look at her and wonder, Miss Jane, are you okay? Why would you be putting in more money into something that is losing value? But she understands how the market works. Why? Because she knows that as the market is dropping, it's an opportunity to purchase a coin at a cheaper value. So that is why every time the market dropped, she just kept putting in more money to purchase more positions. Because as soon as the market starts coming back up, even before it gets to her initial of $200, she would have made way more money than Mr. John. Because remember, all Mr. John did was wait for the market to go down and come back up. But Miss Jane decided to take advantage of that drop in the market to purchase coins at a cheaper value because she knew that as soon as the coins, come back up, she would have made way more money. And don't even talk about if she decides to wait for the market to get her initial profit target, she would make way more money than Mr. John. Now, this strategy right here of purchasing more positions while the market is going down is simply what we call the martingale or the dollar cost averaging. And your Royal Keyboard does this for you and I with ease. You are not the one manually buying and selling and monitoring the market. The Royal Keyboard does it for you because it understands that the market will eventually recover, thereby making more money for you. I hope it is clear. If you understand this properly, please type a yes in the chat before I move on. If you understand this properly, please type a yes in the chat before I move on. All right, so Sonny says yes, yes. Anybody else? If you don't, please feel free to say no. Okay. All right, so a lot of yeses. All right, so moving on, let's talk about some other strategies that the Royal Keyboard helps you and I make more money. And the next one is what we call the cycle strategy. And when you hear the word cycle, I'm sure, of course, you know that it has, what should come to your mind is something that keeps repeating itself. So when you hear cycle strategy, it's something that would keep happening. So how does this work? In this strategy, this is where you would instruct your Royal Keyboard to, let's say, for instance, you tell your Royal Keyboard, please purchase a coin for me at $200. When the market rises to 400, please sell in profits for me. If the market comes back down, please rebuy into the market. If the market goes up, please sell. If it comes down, please buy. If it goes up, please sell. If you notice, there is a pattern here. You have instructed your Royal Keyboard to keep carrying out this transaction, to continuously buy and sell for you, to continuously buy at a lower price and sell at a higher price for you. That is what the cycle strategy means. All right? So this action will keep happening. Even if you turn off your phone, even if you go to a place that has no internet access, your Royal Keyboard will keep working for you. I told you, this will turn to your own employee. It will keep buying and selling for you until you come online and stop this action. That is what the cycle strategy is. The next one is what we call the one-shot strategy. And just like the name implies, you and I know that one-shot simply means it's a one-time instruction given to your Royal Key application. Technically, let's take for instance, same thing. You instruct your Royal Keyboard, please purchase a coin for me at $200. When the price gets to 400, please sell. If the price comes back down, do not buy into the market again. If the price goes up, do nothing. If it comes back down, do nothing. The only important instruction in this entire transaction, this entire sequence, is the very first one. Remember, one shot, the very first instruction that you gave your Royal Keyboard to perform a transaction. And that is the only one that the Royal Keyboard will carry out. So I hope that is clear as to what cycle strategy means and what one-shot strategy means. So now when you see that in the group chat, you understand what these things imply. Moving on, what kind of monthly profits can you make from these strategies? Number one, for cycle strategy, you can make from 5 to 30% per month. Sorry, excuse me. For the cycle strategy, you can make from 5 to 30% per month, depending on the cryptocurrency that you have decided to trade at the time. Same thing for the one-shot strategy. You can make from 5 to 100%, depending on the coin as well that you have chosen to trade at the time. Now, let's talk about what kind of income do you make from the RoyalQ application. Number one, trading income. This income is made this income is made when your RoyalQ bot sells successfully for you. That is what we call the trading income. The next is the team trading profits. This profits is made when you show someone this business and they get started and they purchase their own RoyalQ application and they start trading. As they make profits, you also make profits. Next, you have the affiliate income. This income as well is when you show someone this business and they get started. As they make money as well, you get rewarded for that too. On the far right, you have the fuel fee. Now, I told you a few slides ago that every businessman or woman that starts a business, they do it because they want to make profits. And of course, same thing applies here. For those that made the RoyalQ application, of course, they want to make profit. But the good thing is that they have tied their own profits to your own, meaning that they rely on you making profits before they can make profits. Basically, they want you to win. The only way they make profits is when you win, when you make profits. So every time you make a profit, 20% of that goes to them. So if you make $1 in profit, 20% of that goes to them. If you make $10 in profit, 20% of that goes to them. If you make $100 in profit, same thing. Whatever profit you make, 20% of that goes to them. So how do you get started with this business of ours, RoyalQ? Number one, you will need a minimum of 240 USDT. Remember, we talked about USD, we talked about USDT. And because RoyalQ is a crypto trading business, that is why you require USDT. So you will need a minimum of 240 USDT. Now, how is this split? 120 USDT from that 240 would go to your subscription. Basically, how you pay for your Netflix, your Amazon Prime, this will go to your subscription to use the RoyalQ bot. It's a yearly subscription, so it's 120 USDT per year for you to gain access and use the RoyalQ bot. Now, 20 USDT for the fuel fee. Remember, I said whenever and only when you make profits is when 20% of that goes to RoyalQ business. You will then need a minimum of 100 USDT in your cryptocurrency exchange. This will be your capital, basically. And of course, the more capital you have, the more profits you make. And the good thing, like I always say, is that your funds are in your own possession. You are not sending your money to anyone to trade on your behalf. All right? So all your capital, your profits remain in your own possession. Now, here are reasons why RoyalQ is just amazing. Number one, no payment of salary to anyone because everything is done on your smartphone. Next, no data required. The only time you require data is only when you are setting up your RoyalQ or giving your RoyalQ bot instructions. But as soon as you set up and you click on start, as soon as the trading starts, you can turn off your data. You can walk into a place that has no internet access. You can turn off your phone. Your trades will go on smoothly. Next, 0% supervision. Your capital and profits are 100% safe in your own custody. Like I have said so many times during this call. We have a saying as well that your kids can inherit this business. Because it is digital, we have a saying that in the future, we will no longer be passing on, land documents and paperwork to our loved ones. We'll be passing on our passwords and our private keys for our loved ones to access our digital wealth. Next, no loss of funds and no third party. No skills required. The only time you would require skills is if you decide to become a day trader. And I explained to you earlier that we have calls for those ones. We have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday calls that you can take advantage of. Let the person know, and they will send you the link for those particular calls. All right. So finally, what exactly do you stand to gain when you join this architect, when you join this business or join the team? Number one, you get access to the RKTMI premium group. Now, this group, we have a thriving community on WhatsApp with so many groups. We have amazing leaders. We have amazing members that are there to hold your hands, show you what exactly you need to do to elevate your business. As soon as you understand your business, you can build it better. So use this Zoom calls, use all the trainings in the group to build your business. Send your prospects over to the calls and they will do the selling on your behalf. Next, free training until you become a pro with the RoyalQ bot. Finally, you get the RKTMI trading team template. Now, this template caters to whatever capital structure you may have. There is a template for you from $100 to $1,000 to $5,000 to $50,000 to $1 million, whatever it is. There's a trading template to help you maximize your capital to make the best profits for you. So if you go try to learn all this elsewhere, it can cost you from $5,000 to $6,000 to learn. But as soon as you purchase your bot, as soon as you subscribe and you start trading, you get all this for absolutely free when you get started. So that being said, thank you so much for taking our time to listen to this meeting today. If you got some value from this meeting, please type a yes in the chat and let me know how you feel about the meeting. I'm going to unmute ourselves right now to say our goodbyes. Have an amazing evening. Good night, everyone.
Good night, sir. Thank you for the lectures.
Thank you, sir, for the time. Thank you for the lecture. Wonderful meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for the value.
Thank you, co-host. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, coach. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Very, very nice. Lovely.